We are live, and the New York Mets have once again made the Philadelphia Phillies their bitch. Books and brooms, another sweep. What's that, 6 in a row, 7 in a row? 7 in a row. More heroics from your soon-to-be NL MVP, Pete Alonso. Lindor getting it done. The bullpen is once again immaculate. And we're at the point where, the Mets own the Phillies. The players know it. Their broadcast team knows it. Their studio people know it. This is dated back. This is no longer a fluke or a small sample size. We own the Phillies. This team is absolutely cooking. I believe at the moment right now with officially the best record in baseball. All things are good. All things are good.
There's no other shoe to drop, Kevin. It's just like, and you know what the weird part is? I'm not even waiting for it now. I didn't even blink at Diaz leaving that game and Cranach coming in. I was like, you know what? Max throws a lot of strikes. I think he can figure this out. And that's exactly what he went out there and did. He's going to be like lost in the shuffle of everything. That saved the game.
No, totally. I mean, you got to give it's a Marte parte. Pete was a hero, but coming into that spot, the bullpen getting it done. It's only 4:34 p.m. Eastern time right now. So, Phil, are we doing a little afternoon delight? Are we getting some daytime fucking on the Mets bed?
Daytime fucking on the Mets bed. I hand up. I did not believe Max Cranach was going to get through that unscathed. I tweeted out 7-2 Phillies win. There was no part of me that was like, the guy that had 36 pitches on Monday night was getting out of a bases loaded.
Dude, I didn't like that at the time. We left him in for what, 2 or 3 innings. I thought that was a little bit of an overusage, and those things do come back to bite you. We do need like a blowout in the next couple days, one way or the other, to maybe rest this bullpen. You don't want to get too burnt out. But my God, dude, first of all, the pitching in general, every day it's, 2 runs through 5, no runs through 6. Like we have not had really any bad pitching performances. There he is. There's the big man.
There he is.
We're just explaining how Phil will be doing some afternoon fucking on the Mets bed.
Afternoon delight?
Well, that's what I said. Listen, there's so many people to go around the list right now, but you know who I want to give a shout out to? This is kind of lost in all of it. Luis Acuna diving for that ball. I think like having the range to almost get his glove on the ball, even if you held up for a split second to allow Soto to make that throw. I want to give him credit too. It's going to be a real tough decision who goes up and who goes down with if Brett Beatty is going to be hitting 400-foot home runs at 113 miles per hour. Did you see that stat that Zach Wheeler has thrown 22,000 pitches in his career and only 3 have ever been hit for a homer of like 113 miles an hour or higher, and that was Brett fucking Beatty. So I if the Brett Beattys of the world are going to be cooking with this team, there ain't no stopping them for the foreseeable future if everything's clicking to that extent. Clem, we just said that the Mets just own the Phillies. Everybody seems to know it. I'm always terrified of that lineup with Schwarber, Harper, and even Turner. But I will say that, we're going on year whatever now of that core, and they always scare me. But also it's like, I don't know. We get through it. We beat them. I feel like Bryce Harper is either putting a ball on the moon or he's striking out. I feel like he strikes out a fucking ton against the Mets. I would love to see some stats to see if that's just in my head or if it's backed up. They're a scary team, but they're not like, I don't know. When you beat them as many times as we have recently, you just kind of start to believe like at worst we can hang with these guys, and at best we fucking own them.
It's kind of like what all these teams felt about us when we would play them. And
yes.
Like, David Wright's good, but when push comes to shove, we get Wright out in the big spot, and then we beat them and make the playoffs.
The exact stat: the Phillies are 6-20 at Citi Field, including the postseason. Why not include the postseason in their last 26 games?
I mean, that's a big enough sample when it comes down to head-to-head matchups where, you're not talking about a fluke. You're not talking about luck. Like that's a thing. That is a thing that it's like, the same way we would be afraid to go to Turner Field. Like when the Phillies fans and the Phillies players see, Queens on the fucking calendar, they feel a way about it. And that's a big part of this whole turnaround obviously the main goal is to win the division, make the playoffs, win the World Series. But there's a lot of stuff along the way. And that's why Juan Soto signing was such a big deal, because like one of those puzzle pieces is being a destination for free agents. And one of the puzzle pieces is having your division rivals like fear you or recognize and look at the stats, look at the numbers and be like, fuck, the Mets have our number. I love watching their studio guys like meltdown.
Oh, it's the best.
I actually like those guys. I feel like they're a bizarro world SNY. They're a very different vibe, but I like that vibe, and they care. And
absolute crash out. Like they were like, "Fuck our team, they suck." Like,
yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ, they were like, "We can't win. There's not even a rivalry if there's no competition."
I love that.
They just went off, and I was like, they called it Citi Field the House of Horrors,
which is something like I don't know if anybody has ever called anything with the Mets a House of Horrors. And my favorite was they were like, I don't even see how we could turn this around. It's like, guys, it's fucking April. Like, if all of a sudden that team starts to hit, like, a minute ago you were 6-1. I think we can fathom a way where the Phillies. I still expect them to be there and be a problem and be like, we're going to battle with them. But right now, head to head, it's a clear winner.
So I got on late. I don't know how we started the episode today, but this one I had in the in the little in the holster in case it could be used. We are live, and the New York Mets are the best team in baseball. Because right now we are percentage points ahead of the Padres, and now we're definitely there after today's game. So, fellas, soak it in. April 23rd. I got to go back to the April 20-something episode of last year's show just to see where we were at that point.
But here's the thing, you can't have it both ways. So last year, when everyone was clowning the Mets, the sky is falling, Lindor sucks. Well, now when I tweet that Pete Alonso's the NL MVP and I tweet that we're a fucking wagon, everyone hits me with it's just April. Well, which one is it? Which fucking one is it? All these games matter. Get out to a nice big early now. Give yourself a nice cushion. Man, and I truly, genuinely mean this. The people who are acting like Juan Soto is like a worry are truly the biggest idiots on the planet. Like we literally just did this with Francisco Lindor. How have you not learned your lesson? So those people are moronic. I genuinely think if you are watching these games day in and day out, and you see the type of pitches that he's getting, he's working with what he's got. Now, had there been a couple spots where you wish he came through big, and he hasn't? Yes, sure. He's still getting on base a fuck ton. He's still impacting the game a ton. But all that being said, they are best team in baseball, first place, absolutely cooking, and Soto has not yet fully arrived. So, like, there's still more room to grow. Alvarez coming back, Soto getting into his groove. There's still some big pieces that's like, this could get even better. And if you told me first place, best record in baseball at this point, I would have told you, we're maxing out. And that's really just not the case yet.
They said on the broadcast, we've had 12 straight starts of our starters not allowing a home run.
We have not allowed a starter is not allowed a home run at home this season.
That's incredible, man. I mean, every game, some of these day games I haven't been able to watch, or I tune in late, and every now and then I'm expecting one of these games to be a blowout, or they're putting up crooked numbers. Every time I turn on the TV or check the score, we're through 5 innings with 0 runs, 1 run, 2 runs. It's like they are keeping us in every game, if not dominating every game. And at what point is everyone going to apologize to Stearns? Because it seems like he might have done it again with the rotation.
And then games that people pressing the right buttons, and he's not letting guys go too long. And when he does let them go long, it pays off. Like every time he does it, you're like, well, even last night when they asked him about, and this isn't pitching, but last night when they asked him about Torrance, he's like, I don't know. It kind of just felt good. It kind of just figured he's like Nimmo better matchup, but like sometimes you just feel it. It's like, and everything's working. That's
the equivalent of, like Steph Curry when he's just heat check, just throwing it up. It's probably going to go in. When it rains, it pours in a good way. Like right now, nobody can do any wrong. And I just have to continue to shout him out. Pete fucking Alonso. What's Sal Licata going to do tomorrow? I hate to say it because I don't want to give him credit, but I'm at the point where it's like must-see TV. I got to tune in just to see how he's going to dig his heels in even further and try to tell me why, I shouldn't be giving Pete props. That was he's had a lot of big hits, but none bigger than that one today. That was incredible.
This homestand started with Sal Licata saying the fans should boo Juan Soto if he doesn't perform. That's how this homestand started.
He's the fucking worst. And I actually like those guys, but there's no denying that they have not. They're just shock jocks. You know what was really impressive? That top of the 10th was that was a long inning and a lot went on. And the fact that they held it to 3-2, like Harper scored pretty quickly, and then another couple base runners, and then a pitching change. And you would have thought that was a big inning, but they end up holding it to just one run, and it obviously makes all the difference in the world. I thought that was kind of like a microcosm. Like they battle, they grind, they don't give up. Kind of like that 24 Mets of like, we're never out of it. And the fact that Pete, he's got to just feel so fucking good right now. Oh my God, he's got like 30 RBIs already. It's crazy.
He's outpacing the amount of games that they're playing. That was his 26th RBI in 25 games.
Oh, so Pete had 88 RBIs last season, the whole 2024 season. He's going to get that by July.
The break. Yeah, by the fucking All-Star break. He's
Every time someone goes on a run like this, it always reminds me of Josh Hamilton had 99 RBIs at the All-Star break.
Oh, but you want to go down that road? I remember
it was insane.
Juan Gonzalez back in the 90s had like 109 RBIs at the break. There was like a real chance he was going to break the record that year. Those guys, some of those numbers were just absolutely bonkers. Lindor still at it. Defense great. Gold glove, Juan Soto making the fucking throw. That guy was out, no doubt about it. But that was the shadiest shit I've ever seen in my life. Not allowing, 10 seconds had transpired. It's not like they went to commercial or something. If that happened to our team, I would be going ballistic.
And then the balk with Diaz, and they put him back on first base, and it was clearly a balk before he...
There was some shady shit going on for sure. Phillies fans have every right to complain, even though at the end of the day they didn't get it done. It's kind of a ball don't lie situation. Both of those calls were very questionable.
For Diaz, they said left hip cramping. So we'll see what that means.
The way he called him out right away, almost in a weird way, made me that felt like something that was like an acute this is hurting me right now. But not necessarily going to be, he didn't tear something or hurt something. Hopefully that's just okay, you cramped up. Those things can hurt like a bitch, but it's nothing that's going to be long-term.
I thought when he did it, I didn't think he was hurt. He just looked like a guy who didn't want to be out there. And when it is that, and if it is that it's tight, I'm like, okay, that's a different animal. He's like, fuck, it just feels weird. I can't rotate. Just come get me before I fuck this up.
He's like, my ERA is already at 6. I don't need to go up high. Trying to pick this.
I mean, again, that's another thing that's the bullpen's been great without Diaz really shining, and the offense has been great without Soto really clicking. So that's not good, obviously, but if you're going to be in first place while those things aren't going your way, when they do start to click, God damn, they're going to be a scary team. I'm eternally, scared and negative. Are you guys just at the point where you're like, the New York Mets are good. Like the way that you just look around the league and it's like the Dodgers are going to win the West. The Yankees are going to win the AL East. There's a couple things that you can pencil in. The NL East is still very good, obviously, and there's going to be a battle. But are you at the point where you're just like, yes, this team's going to win 90-something games. The sky is the limit, and you're not concerned at all about the long haul here? Or are you still, you said there's no other shoe to drop. Are you really that confident? We're good?
It's weird because this was supposed to be the litmus test because all we've heard up until this point is how we haven't played anybody good.
Yeah, right.
And now it's a struggling Phillies team because we just swept them. It's one can't transpire if the other doesn't either. If we're hot and they're not, yes, we're going to sweep them. So that's what they're supposed to do. I will say it seems like everybody on the team knows their role and always does what they're expected to do in certain situations. Tyrone Taylor isn't going to hit for average or get on base, but when he does, he's going to steal. He's going to field. He's going to do the little things that he needs to do. Torrens, Beatty, Vientos. I mean, these are guys who you were expecting more out of, and they're still finding ways to do things to help the team along. Where I think if Pete drops off or if Lindor drops off, you would hope that Soto and one of these other guys now steps in.
Back up,
we don't miss a step.
I can't stand the talking about the competition.
Yeah.
Right now, the Atlanta Braves fucking stink. And on paper, if you played them, you'd be playing a team that's under 500. So if you beat up on them now, no one would give us credit. But, in 2 months when the Braves figure it out and they're a contender, then it matters all of a sudden. Like, people get high. The season's so long, injuries, slumps, whatever you want to call it. So there's ups and downs. All you can do is play the teams in front of you. And again, as a Mets fan, who many years we play up and down to our competition, I don't give a fuck if it's the Marlins. I don't give a fuck if it's the Dodgers. Like, we seem to always play well and or struggle, no matter who it is. So just win, baby. I don't give a shit. Did we lose Clem, by the way? He's
I heard noise in the back, like maybe his kids or something. He had to go run.
Maybe him and Mama Clem are just getting it on.
Of the 7 losses we've had, like there's no like embarrassing losses. No. Like, it's just normal baseball losses. Like, oh well, that's just baseball, and then you just move on.
The pitching is the only thing where it's like nobody saw it coming.
Yeah,
and like they just built it, and it just seems to be working. Where that's, I guess, the one thing where you're like, well, if there's a regression, you're like, well. They can't possibly keep the pace up for like.
So that's my question though. Like, how long does this need to go on for? Even last year, I didn't believe until fucking July or August. Like, the team I believe in, but like the pitching, I'm still like, is Griffin Canning and these guys still, are they really going to be this good? How long, how big of a sample do you need before you're like, yup, starting to
the part of that is like you're getting Manaea back at some point. You're
yes.
hopefully getting Montas back at some point. Brandon Sproats in AAA, he's probably going to make his debut at some point. Blade Tedwell, he's probably going to make his debut at some point. So, like, there's help on the way. When the regression up here, it's a wall.
Which is why it's like, if this is if you're going to be this good when there's some injuries and some bad performers, when everybody starts to click and the weather starts to warm up and all that shit, it could get real fun.
I had and like you said, Soto. Once Soto starts looking like Soto again, and by the way, first of all, I don't listen to, I haven't listened to WFAN probably since Francesa retired. It's just not my thing. I love Evan Roberts. He's kind of the only host I still listen to. I was never the morning show guy because it was on too early for me. But I heard, those guys are good. Are like Mets fans like revolting and like just straight up? I'd be yelling at Sal Licata every single episode and calling him up and being like, because this is the thing, the fucking New York media has nothing to pick on with the Mets, which is their favorite thing to do. It's genuine. It's like a gold mine for ratings every single time. It's fucking Old Faithful, right? And listen, there's a chance May, June, July, whenever the swoon happens, they'll be able to bubble it back up. But it's absolutely crazy. And I saw someone had a comment about it. It's the truest thing ever. The fact that you would say to boo Juan Soto when last year's season was about the vibes and how great it was at Citi Field, and to try to poison that is like one of the most just like fucked up dumb things I've ever heard in my life.
He hated the vibes last season too. He called it out at every turn.
Shout out every single Mets fan who said fuck that, and they gave him the standing O, and here we are, best team in baseball.
I can't even entertain this. It is insane. We are talking about Juan fucking Soto. Like, never have I guaranteed something more in my life that at the end of the season his numbers will be there. He's not even playing that bad. Like, if you're good, I was saying earlier, Clem, before you joined, if you're looking at the stats and the box score, sure, it leaves a little to be desired, of course. You look at it, what this time last year, he was batting like 320 with 7 home runs and 25 RBIs. He's not doing that this year. If you look, I did this. I put together the stats. I'll send you guys the graphic. The last 5 years through 20 games, whatever it was when I made the stat, 3 home runs, 2 home runs, 5 home runs. It's all like in the same general vicinity, and he ends up getting his numbers every fucking season. And going into your 26, 27 year, like, we just did this with Lindor, and you could probably say definitively that Soto is better than him. And if you watch every single day, he's not getting pitches to hit. You can only work with what you're given. And yeah, again, I said this already. There's a couple big spots where, he hit into a double play or he rolled over a ball or whatever. But for the most part, it's a team. Like, if he gets on base and Pete keeps driving him in, I don't give a fuck if it's Pete or Soto. Now, the talking heads want it to be Soto. The $765 million contract arguers are going to say it should be Soto. I don't care who it is. If Pete has 200 RBIs because of Soto and Soto only has 75, well, it doesn't matter. The production's fucking there. But my God, you are going to feel so fucking dumb. I was arguing with somebody. I was in the car the other day, so I had time. I was just sitting in the car, and I was fucking arguing with some Yankee fan, or not even, I don't even know, Yankee fan, just a Soto hater on Instagram, DMing. And we got to a point, I was like, what is your argument here? And he said, Juan Soto is going to have a big regression. That's what I finally got him to. He says he's going to regress this year. I think he said a considerable fall off or something like that. And I said, okay, give me, what is his stats? And he said 32 home runs and 100 RBIs. And it was like, that is literally his average for his career every year. So I was like, okay, if your big argument is that this year Juan Soto is going to do what he always does, fine, you win the argument. And he said, well, for $765 million, do you want an average player? I said, that's not average. It's his average. His average is fucking awesome. And I am a believer that if he has the same production he had for the first 7 whatever years of his career for the rest of this contract, that's good. Like, people think that because his money grew, that his numbers are going to grow by that much. Like, it's his prime. I think he will get better, but it's not like just because you sign a bigger contract doesn't mean that things are going to change that much. That's what he does. And he does it every year, and he's going to do it this year. And when he was making $500,000 as a rookie, he was underpaid. When he's making $765 million, he's now getting paid appropriately. This is just how it goes. And he's going to get there in the end. And it's just like, what? We're not talking about like a unknown or like, wow, you guys really like went out on a limb. You got Juan fucking Soto. People call him the Ted Williams of this generation. Shut the fuck up.
Can't argue with that. I got nothing for
Apparently you can, though. Apparently you can, because there are fucking idiots out there doing it. And, I would really, if a guy like Sal Licata, he's kind of the main guy doing this. I'm sure there's other people who believe it too. If Sal Licata just was like, nah, I'm an idiot. I don't know. Pete Alonso's been fucking great. Once the thing about it is that we're so early. Like, if Juan Soto he's going to have a week where he hits like 3 home runs, and then all the averages and the trends and whatever you want to point to, they all go away. It's all like, okay, now he's actually in the top half of the league. He's trending to hit like 40 home runs out of nowhere. So shut the fuck up.
That's Licata's argument, though. It's that he's saying the people that are, his side is Juan Soto, your side is Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso's doing so well right now, he should be MVP. So why can't he say that about Soto? But leading into today's game, they're on a 6-game winning streak going for 7, and his big talking point was how Soto isn't shuffling when he sees a ball. So he obviously isn't relaxed enough and isn't comfortable being here with the team and in front of the fan base. And I'm like, you're grasping at straws at a level that everybody sees through it at this point. So you just cannot click on.
It's embarrassing. And people do see right through it. I'm sure the idiots are still calling. I'm sure the Met haters and the Yankee fans love it. But everybody else with a shred of a brain is like, yeah, this is ridiculous.
There was that one idiot that was like, oh, Juan Soto wasn't part of the celebration on Friday night. Then you look at the fucking video. You see he's right there.
Right there. And that you have to really remember, like, these guys walk into the clubhouse and they're like, it's all good. They're winning. They're happy. And when they're losing, they're fine. They're making their money. It's their job. We get all bent out of shape. They don't give a fuck.
He was one swing away and a double play away from every single Mets fan being like, get the fuck off my team. And instead he hits it over the wall and gets brought back this year. And then look where we are.
And the same goes for Soto. Like the other day, that ball that ends up going foul, if that's a 3-run bomb, like it all goes away.
Yep.
So
do you know what other group of losers there are? The Yankees fans that are going to Citi Field to boo Juan Soto, boo the players. There's a photo today of like security taking a guy out of a section. It's like, you know how much of a loser you got to be to go to a Wednesday day game wearing an Aaron Judge jersey with the name on the back to boo players for a team that's not even in your own league.
When the Yankees are playing. You're missing the Yankee game to boo and watch the Mets. That's crazy to me.
That is some loser shit. That is crazy, jealous ex-girlfriend driving by your house, stalking your new girlfriend. Like, that is a low point for the New York Yankees. I know there's been a little bit of back and forth, especially with the Soto comments, but there's no doubt in my mind that in terms of that battle, it is the desperation comes all from the Yankees side about missing Juan Soto and not the other way around. That's pathetic today. I couldn't even believe that. I didn't believe that when I saw it. I was like, that's getting misconstrued. That's a Mets fan, Nope. You saw it. Like getting escorted out. Number 99, Judge on the back. Fucking dorks.
Ugh, that's tough. That's tough.
Our fans are showing up though too. I
What?
cannot believe how packed out it has been.
Bro, the only thing better than the play on the field has been the fans. And to go back, I don't think we really had an episode since the Soto standing ovation. Phillies fans were like, that's our thing.
That wasn't even a standing ovation.
I heard
a rally going on.
Somebody saying like, if Soto needs like an ovation in order to perform, he's like a slacker or whatever. Like, bro, we're cheering for our player. Like, what is going? The Phillies have now like put ownership to that, and people are misconstruing it as like, if you need to cheer for this guy to perform, he's not motivated. Like, what? And then, but if the stands were empty and we weren't cheering, it would be like, look how bad this. You cannot win. So why even engage with this bullshit?
That's the biggest thing in social media, and I know I'm just like talking to a wall on this. It's like, if you engage in it, you're just making these people are going to keep coming back for more. There have been so many people you just mute and never think of them again. There's trolls who sometimes I'll see Kevin fighting with a troll, and then I'll be like, who's he fighting with? And then it's like, oh, I muted that guy like 3 years ago. Yeah. But it's like, it is what it is, and everyone has their thing. So again, and then those Phillies who, that's their thing. When the Phillies are done, when they play at Citizens Bank, they go to the halls and it says, you got to believe on every fucking wall. So I don't want to hear about taking people's stuff. It's a bunch of nonsense. Yeah. But like you said, before it was Juan Soto, the guy who was always booed this time of year and took all the shit because of the money he was making was Francisco Lindor. And Kevin, I'm going to give the floor to you. I think we have a letter to put on someone's jersey here.
Dude.
We have
I don't know if it's going to happen, but it doesn't matter whether the team does it or not. We are officially having the ceremony today on behalf of Mets fans, on behalf of the borough of Queens, the city of New York, and Mets fans everywhere. Francisco Lindor is the captain of the New York Mets. El Capitan of the New York Mets. He runs this team. He performs on the field. He performs off the field. He is a stand-up guy. He is a great father, a great husband. He is $1 million smile. He has a $300 million bat and glove. He deserves that C. Whether or not they go ahead and do it, it doesn't matter, because on behalf of all the fans, we know that's who that guy is. And on a team with a Juan Soto and with some of the other names that have come through there, and I'm sure some of the names that have that are going to come through, for him to be the guy speaks volumes. He is going to be the face of this turnaround. And the day that we have cake and punch and we're going down the Canyon of Heroes, it will be because of him. Francisco Lindor is the captain of the New York Mets.
Kind of like El Capitan. I kind of like El Capitan. It kind of goes well, too, right? Mm-hmm. I saw Real Black Greg had the Capitan thing in his little sign the other day. I dig that, and I think it's perfect. And whether I'm telling my kids about it years from now that he was the captain of the team, or they actually put it on Wikipedia and officially do a ceremony, whatever it may be, he's the fucking captain for all those reasons you mentioned and more. And boy, when Francisco decides he's just going to start pulling home runs, he's like the best hitter I've ever seen. That was
all these home runs that, he's hitting tank shots. Beatty's hitting fucking upper deckers. Any of those balls that are pulled down the line are just moonshots right now. But Lindor, man, we've always said, if he puts together an early, if he stops slumping early on, did you see the stat over the last 162 games as of today? He has the most wins above replacement out of anybody. Better than Betts, better than Ohtani. He's the most valuable player over the last 162 games this year, because obviously that takes into account his, scorching end to the season. And if he's just going to couple it with a good April and May this year, watch the fuck out. And, the captain thing is a figurehead, position anyway. It doesn't really mean anything other than like we know it and we feel it. And so, like, we already know it. We already feel it. Again, whether the team does it doesn't really matter, because from a fan point of view, and I'm sure from a locker room point of view, the veterans, the rookies, like all of those people look to him as the captain anyway. So
I've seen some people argue like it needs to be homegrown talent. Keith Hernandez was not an original Met. John Franco, not an original Met. Like, there's so much precedent to lead into this. And I had the idea, and I'm not sure if they're going to do this, but it would be the most logical thing of like, you bring in David Wright for his retirement. They retire his number, and you either do it the day
That's
before or
George.
the day after, so you don't steal the thunder one way or the other of him passing along the torch. It makes the most sense. And by that point in the season, hopefully we're where we want to be. And he's done a million other standout things where it just makes the natural transition of like, you're getting David Wright in from California. You might as well let him hand over the sea and then walk into the cornfield.
I'm sure there's an argument to be made about like, you don't need to do it, and maybe it puts undue pressure or puts a bullseye, or like maybe you just don't want to rock the boat. It's not something you have to do. But also, they've been good about doing these things. Like, we want this number retired. We want a statue. We want, like, they are doing the things to please the fans. And I think there's, enough of a vibe and a movement to do that I could see them being like, let's do it. Let's do it. He's here for the duration. It's almost one of those things. It's like kind of self-fulfilling. It's like, he's going to be the captain anyway. We need him to be that captain. So let's get ahead of it and do it. And whether they do or not, doesn't matter. He's my captain. That's my captain.
I have a Lindor thought. I feel like this has been a warmer April than usual, and he usually plays well in the summer months. Do you think climate change is the reason why Francisco Lindor can win MVP?
If so, like, tell Taylor Swift and Leo DiCaprio, start flying those jets all over the fucking place. Let's get all the carbon emissions we can. Francisco Lindor needs it.
I'm spraying, what was it, hairspray?
Aerosol, yeah. I'm going to put a
the ozone.
Reopen the hole in the ozone just so Lindor can stay hot, baby. And let's talk about last night, by the way. That double play. With the Deke out in center field, I had the best PTSD flashbacks to Endy Chavez throwing it to Carlos Delgado with that fist pump at the end. It wasn't exactly the same, obviously, being center field versus left field, but that was a beautiful double play. I had just gotten my customary the Mets are gay text from Shane Gillis. Anytime they play, it's just the Mets are gay, the Mets stink. Like, literally as he sent that happened. It couldn't have been better timing. Not only are they beating them, but they're doing things like that. They're walking off. They're beating them, coming back. They are crushing and stomping on the hearts of the Phillies right now. I was saying to somebody said I love beating the Phillies, and I said there's really only one thing in the world better than that, and they said beating the Braves, and I said all right, there's two things better than that, because in my mind, it's still rank the Phillies, Braves, and Yankees, beating them in order for you. What do you got?
Braves. For me, it's Braves, Phillies, Yankees. I know, like, in the moment, the Yankees is so, like, fire because you're going to see people, but there's just more. There's more at stake when we're all good. So for me, but I know I am not near where you are on this, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm also, as the division rivalry thing kind of like continues to, they switch it up. Like, it's not going to be as important. I still, for bragging rights and just walking around life in New York City, beating the Yankees. Well, and it's not that I want my brain and my heart to acknowledge everything you just said. I want to care the most about the Braves and Phillies. And I tell myself to do that. And then comes the Subway Series. And when we lose, I want to put a bullet in my head. And when we win, I want to rub it in their face. You can't help how you feel. But to me, it would go Yankees, Braves, Phillies, because we've been beating the Phillies so much right now. It's kind of like it doesn't.
The Braves are single-handedly ruined my childhood.
Yes,
because not only could the Mets not beat them, but then they would go on to lose to the Yankees, which in turn would make it so much worse for Mets fans. I was like, you can't even fucking win correctly. That we now have the Yankee fans who get to dunk on us, and we lose the division every year. I don't think I'll ever not hate the Braves more than any other team.
I would say, I mean, the Braves run was so prolific and so long.
Yeah.
But that 07 to like 2012, whatever it was, right? Like 5, whatever, something seasons in a row of the Phillies winning the
Ryan Howard blown out his Achilles was like
that's why the Phillies are
exact moment that it stopped.
But that, the Braves have had so many division titles, but they didn't, win the World Series a lot. The Mets were also like so bad, so often during that run. Whereas that Phillies like unit of Rollins and Utley and them was like when the Mets had their chance to win the World Series and they didn't. So there is definitely a special, spot in my heart for when we beat them. But it brings that extra amount of joy. it's very interesting to hear that dude on the broadcast be like, there is no rivalry. The Mets just spank these guys every time.
And Kev, like you said, with the Tyrone Taylor deke play, not only did he make that deke in the throw, but Alonso tagged Schwarber after he fell off the base too, in case they didn't get the call. So it's like we're doing all the fundies, and Keith was groaning because we know Keith does not like the fundies or the lack thereof that the Philadelphia Phillies display. I'm sure Kyle Schwarber and him could have a good old time over some beers, but he does not like watching that man play baseball.
No, who was the team? Who was the team that Keith like refused to do games for?
It was the Phillies.
Yeah. That's why that was the best when he was like, I will not do my job on these days. Oh man.
I retired from West Coast games. You retired from extra inning games. And Keith was trying to retire from in-division games when there were still 19 against each other.
You just know he told the producer, I'll call the games, but I can't be controlled what I'm going to say, and then I may not be able to call any more games.
Yeah, exactly.
What I didn't catch the whole game. Or I had a call at one point. I don't know when you tweeted this, Phil. You said Gary Cohen needs to get a pair of glasses. Did he?
There was Jose Budo thing. It was a 2-2 pitch, and the other batter's box, and Gary's like, "Strike 3 called."
That was tough. That was tough. Gary is definitely lost a step.
I can live with home runs. Like I can barely live with him not getting the home runs right. Strike zones, like we were all seeing that. Like that should be easy to tell.
And
there's
also,
a box there.
Give it a split second before you like let the umpire make the call. That's been tough.
It's not like it was a pitch like borderline, like or even like down the middle. It's like no, it was a straight like ball in the other batter's box.
Yo, that bullpen though, man. Shout out to them. We said it in 22. A good bullpen completely changes your entire experience as a fan. And I think right now I'm like. I think it's been enough of a sample where I'm like, I think we just have a good bullpen. Knock on wood, famous last words. But I don't think that there's like flukes. I don't think that it's luck. I think that they're just a pretty good bullpen.
And the guys in his bullpen, it's not like they're outside of Diaz. There's really like no money spent on it. It's like Minter they signed. His contract is cheap. Stanek 1 year, nothing. Rosbon trade. Reed Garrett was a DFA claim from Billy Epler in 2023. He had no idea Reed Garrett had this in him.
Yep.
Stearns, Stanek out of nowhere.
Stearns is earning his fucking money this year. And I'll tell you this, if this year goes well and the bullpen and the rotation pan out, like then you start to think, well, maybe we have like a Theo Epstein. Maybe we have one of these guys who like is a lifer who's going to build, contenders for years to come. We've never had that either. Minaya had a good run, a couple guys here and there, put some teams together. But my God, imagine having we have a baseball architect on our hands who's going to he's a Mets fan. So, he's not trying to go anywhere else. He's young. So imagine if we just have like a great, progressive, cutting edge GM for 20 years to come. Oh my God.
The way we used to build bullpens, like, oh, we'll just sign Anthony Swarzak to a 2-year deal backloaded. All right, that's it. Another offseason. Dylan Betances, we'll sign him. He'll pitch 6 innings. That's it. Job done. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, we'll just sign a bunch of guys to minor league deals and they'll all just be good.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like, whether you got some advanced stats or a goddamn pitching factory, whatever it is, it seems like a cheat code if you just can push all the right buttons to find all these guys.
And that's what I'm interested to see how that goes in the coming days. If, say, Diaz is a couple days, hopefully it's not like a, IL thing, but even if he's out or they take it slow with him, it's like then you start bumping the blocks and then you start playing Tetris with the bullpen and you don't have starters are not going fucking 6 innings as Kyle's Twitter can tell you. Yeah. So it's like you have to fill 4+ innings and now it's like everyone has to get bumped up a slot and you can get guys, you can call up guys for the minors. And if they come up, how's Nunez doing in the minors? Cause I know he's
doing fine. He's ready to come up at any time. It's just the bullpen's been so good.
He tweeted it out, loading 75% or something. It was weird.
I think he's fine to go, but it's like, whatever.
So that's the one thing that I think could be when the bubble bursts potentially, but hopefully that's not the case. And if Diaz is healthy, we will hopefully not have to worry about that.
Also, maybe, he was the one that was making me nervous at everybody.
I know. That's what I was saying
It was
before.
like you didn't know which Diaz you were going to get.
We used to be like, let's get to Diaz, and if he's not good, it's like, well, wait, what are we even worried about getting to him for? We're kind of at a spot where the other guys were performing better, and I wonder if whatever, the hip or whatever, maybe that was contributing to the 6 ERA. Maybe it's something that's been lingering. Today it came to a head. Maybe it's better to just shut it down for a couple weeks, 10 days, whatever, and because, man, just think about, like, if Minaya comes back and he's the same guy he was, if Alvarez comes back and he is the good Alvarez, and if Diaz got healthy and was lights out, like, I mean, this team would be fucking undefeated if that kind of shit.
Jeff McNeil down in the minors coming up this week.
I don't know. A lot of people are like, what are we like? What move are we gonna make for McNeil? I'm like, I don't even know if McNeil is good enough to like rock the boat. I don't know.
Last year after getting hurt and fucked up the mojo for that week, and everyone was like, "Ooh."
It's like, of course, if he's gonna be a batting champ, Jeff McNeil, then you find room for him. But otherwise, is he really that much better than some of these other guys? I think Acuna's been like performing and getting better, and he's a good glove. And like, I mean, Beatty has been terrible, but he's gonna hit some 400-foot home runs. I don't know. I just don't think anybody is in that whole 4 players for 3 spots. Like, I don't know if anybody really stands out more than the other at this point.
Brett Beatty, last 7 games, 333 average, home run, fucking tank job off of Zach Wheeler. So maybe there's something there. And I mean, at the worst, maybe you have him last on the bench. He's a lefty guy. I mean, they're probably going to want to get him at bats in the minors. I almost feel safer having like, what's the guy's name? Akuza or whatever, and Tyrone Taylor.
Yeah.
That's how you know Stearns is good. Or I'm like, let's not mess with Jeff McNeil in center field and have that bat. Let's just throw Tyrone Taylor out there because he fucking always comes through when it matters.
He's athletic. Like, yeah. He's got it all. He's like
wheels.
He's like a bad 5-tool player, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
he's like a Swiss Army knife where it's like you got it at the dollar store and
it's dull.
Bend it too hard, the screwdriver will bend.
Yeah,
but
he still has it all.
Tools there.
Yeah.
There are definitely tools there. Speaking of 5-tool players, one thing that he doesn't do, Juan Soto doesn't do, Brandon Nimmo doesn't do, is they don't just look at pimp job things that they think are home runs that then fall short of the ball. If we're going to talk Diaz, we have to talk about the man he was traded for. Jared Kelenic did that, batting like 180 on the season. And then we have Ronald Acuna being like, if I had done that, they would have benched me because they literally did that to him. And who was the other guy they did that to, Phil?
Ozuna.
So they did it to Ozuna, and then it's Snicker. Then we start getting the R word thrown around. There's a whole lot of stuff going on down in Atlanta. I'll tell you, I'm happy to be far from that right now.
The manager's like, "Oh, I didn't see the play when it happened." It's like,
yeah, that's not good either, buddy. You can't be saying that, you idiot. I wasn't really paying attention. What
that's
happened?
A Mets manager. That's like a Mickey Callaway comment.
I was gonna say all of this feels LOL Mets. And what if we're in like a Freaky Friday situation? We got good infrastructure, we've got a good management, we've got the good Acuna. What if it's all just flipped right now?
Spencer Strider pulling his hamstring, warming up, like catching balls. The Braves deal the devil just expired.
Maybe that's what I'm saying. Like maybe it's their time is over. I mean, it's baseball. Early baseball is so weird because it all should just proportionally matter. But like a 4.5 game lead in April just means nothing to me. We would have to have
I do not pull up the standings.
I am not pulling up the standings.
Isn't that so
July.
funny? It's like it should all kind of proportionally matter throughout the year. But we would have to have like a 15 game lead right now for me to even think that the April records are going to impact the long haul,
Even then, I'm not looking at it. We were up 2022 was 10 games on June 1st.
And then you have a bad week and it's like, well, now it's down to 2 and it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they again, I always try to keep that in perspective where it's like, if the Mets were that bad right now, we'd all be like, the sky is falling. But everybody to a man in the Mets fan base knows that the Braves will be there in the end. So let's not get too high or too low about anything. But I think there's a difference between being low in April and being like, I'm not declaring that the division is over, but I think playing in April well for a team that has slow starts and whatnot is a good sign that we can get excited about.
I still can't tell how the scheduling change has affected the divisional races. I still can't wrap my head around it because there's not enough head-to-head now like there was, where you can make up ground in like 2 series.
Right.
Whereas
Which is probably great for a team with a hot start.
Right. Who's getting off to, like, if they could put enough room and then we don't see, I don't know, we don't see the Phillies again until who knows.
Right.
We don't see the Braves till June 17th.
That's
Right.
insane.
You can't make up ground when you're playing the fucking Orioles and the Rangers and shit.
Yeah.
I will say we see the Braves June 17th for 3 games and then home 4 games till next week. So it's like 7 games in like a 2-week span.
And
Right. Well, if you have a bad week, bad month.
Oh,
but also if you have a good,
yeah.
7-game stretch with them,
Yeah.
like, you can really step on the throat.
But in between that 7-game stretch is 3 games at Philadelphia. So
Oh boy, that's
June's gonna be something.
June's going to feel like the old NL East, definitely.
Yeah.
However, I will say this. We said a couple weeks ago, or I think before we said on last week's podcast, we said it didn't feel like the baseball season started yet because it was all that interleague. This felt like baseball.
Yes.
Cardinals,
Yeah.
Phillies, winning
Oh.
every fucking night helped, but
I was going to
this
say,
felt like
it felt like baseball in that we were playing familiar foes. It did not feel like baseball in that we won every goddamn game.
Oh, just absolutely beautiful. Looking ahead here. So we got the Nats coming to, we're going to the Nats, going to Washington for 4 games. And then we got 3 back here against the Diamondbacks. The only thing I know about Washington, because I was listening to the radio for half the game that I watched on TV, and both things that they mentioned, worst ERA, bullpen ERA in baseball. So that's pretty fucking awesome right off the bat. Phil, tell me about the Washington Nationals, other than I think James Wood is awesome.
That's all I was gonna say. James Wood is like the Nats won the first Soto trade, like with the Padres. Like they got a haul. Like Mackenzie Gore's a legit ace. James Wood's like a 5-tool player. I forgot who else. CJ Abrams is good when he's not at the casino. But yeah, like they have some hitters. They're also still a bad team. Josh Bell is hitting a $133. He's gonna hit us well this weekend.
Totally.
Yep.
But it should be another 3 out of 4.
We're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this homestand's got to be over, right? Because we
Pay off tomorrow, thankfully.
I mean, it'll probably feel like Mets home games this weekend, but
yeah, that is true. That is true. But man, having a good record at home, was it now 11-1? I think it is
12-1.
12-1 is like that changes a lot too. That just feels good. Good vibes. Like it, it's kind of snowballs because everybody who came out to the park, like we're gonna keep selling out. The weather's gonna get nicer. Go get your tickets to Barstool, the ballpark. By then, it's gonna be. It'll be an absolute show. We'll be doing the block party. We'll all be there. So winning at home, winning everything matters, but winning at home really matters.
26-5 at home dating back to last year, which is just an absurd stretch.
Man, I would love that. I really don't, even in our good years, I don't really picture Shea or City as like a, major home field advantage. It would be cool to be one of those, like the Braves at Turner Field type thing where it's like, you do not lose in this park. Oh, that'd be awesome.
They said this is the first time at Citi Field that it's ever been like this for sure. And then like even I think maybe 2015, there was a little bit of a run that we had for maybe a couple weeks where it felt like, the parakeets coming down with
Last 2 months.
Yeah, it was August.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
What's up, AJ? Patrick Mazika card just given
Hell
to me.
yeah.
Hey, Patty Mazik.
That's vibes right there, right? That was the old days. That's how we had vibes, was Patrick Mazika hitting dribblers to win the game. Now we're just beating the crap out of rivals at home. Incredible change. Incredible.
They're doing everything right, man. The even dude, as I'm wearing this is the New York or Nowhere collab is so sick. Like, I mean, they're just doing all the little things right for a change. Their merch is cool. The stadium's cool. The block party is cool. Everything that like could be corny. Our merch. We got the Man I Love Francisco. That one's fine. Whatever. The I've Got Sunshine shirt with the Francisco Lindor like Jerry curl hair is one of my favorite shirts of all time. If it's a new shirt we got out on the store, I've Got Sunshine across the top with his shades and his curly hair. To me, that is the Lindor shirt of the summer. So go get that and make sure you get tickets to Barstool at the ballpark because it is a fun time. Mets fandom is not usually fun. Like even I remember saying so many times in 22, it's like, I'm not enjoying myself. Like we're winning, but man, this is a grind. And this is just fun. Like we're at a point where I almost expect to be winning or have the lead in all these games and everything's clicking. We're fucking dropping dong. Like everything is fun right now. So, and you don't know how long it's going to last. You know, like we could look back on this and be like, oh, remember how much fun we were having in April? Now I want to put a bullet in my head. So enjoy it, soak it in while you can, because you don't know how long it's gonna last.
Yeah, perfectly said. I almost don't even want to touch this just to keep the vibes up, but Knicks game 3 Thursday night. This shows how two teams can win, and you could feel two completely different ways about both teams, right? So that's why I have them.
I mean, I mushed them into that win game 1 because I texted the group and I said, if Cade Cunningham's not playing well and we lose, we're in bad shape. And then they went on a 21-0 run, like literally as I sent that text. But I really said to myself, if they can't, like, that needed to be like the nail in the coffin. That needed to be like we broke a young team's spirit and we came back out. The fact that they just bounced right back, this series should be down 0-2 going to Detroit. Not good, Clem.
Not good. But it's when they lose, it's everything that they've done all season, just doing it again. So it's like I can't get Cat disappearing, kind of soft.
I mean, Mikal Bridges is. It's not his fault. What the trade package was for him? That's almost. If I was Bridges, when I found out I got traded, I'd be like, you gave up what? Like, do you know what that does to me? That the Bulls had that puts on my back. But man, he looked awful down the stretch, and it's just ammo and fodder for people to clown you for 5 first-round picks for that.
So on DraftKings, the Knicks are still minus 250 to win the series.
Vegas is usually right, but man, it does not feel that way right now.
One update: Diaz, one leg was longer than the other. His hips were misaligned. He's like, they fixed it. I feel better. So that happened to me in college a couple of times. They have to literally lay you down and pull your legs until it pops.
I'm going to tell you.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
I was going to say, right now we can laugh about, hey, Diaz has legs that are the wrong length. But if this was 2 years ago, we'd be like, we don't even have the right length legs anymore.
If there's after like a 7-2 loss, it'd be like, what the fuck is going on now?
That would be probably a low seed, but maybe like a 13 seed in the tournament. Our legs aren't the right length.
There is another reality where the 2025 Mets, Diaz is out for like this or like a long period of time. We lose 7-2 and everyone consoles because his legs were too long, different lengths.
What would that be?
Kyle told me that this isn't uncommon or at least has happened to him. Makes me feel better.
I just need to see a picture of like his pant legs being like this.
If you were to watch the bottom line scroll by, what would it say? Like Edwin Diaz on the 10-day DL in parentheses. What would the description be? Uneven legs?
Uneven legs.
Uneven legs. I'll never forget. It was once he left, but Kaz Matsui with the anal fissures in the Kaz Matsui on the DL anal fissures would be right up there with uneven legs. Fred.
When I think of legs, I'm thinking of when we thought that Yo fell off a hole.
No, in the hole.
Broke both his ankles because they fell at the same time. And we're like, yeah, that's like
we thought he was dead and like kidnapped by the cartel.
I still maintain that there might be some cartel business there with a wild boar. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Just win. You can break your legs, uneven legs, wild boars, whatever. Just win, baby.
Just win. From then to now, look how great things have changed.
Yes.
Moving forward, gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
I'll end this.